Angela, was I not?
Sorry, that I didn't hear you.
I was saying, was I not on your favorites list? I was waiting for a little bit to be let in. Oh, let me in.
Oh, I don't have to let people in. It just got stuck in the Ethernet.
Okay, phew. All right.
You're totally on my favorites, Thad.
Thank you, Angela. So it is May 21st. Welcome to Bar Talk. We do have a new PMO SJC2 to review together. If anyone has any thoughts on this, I'd be very happy to air them here in Bar Talk so that we can work through them. I think at the end of the day, what was amended in an attempt to clarify the 49-day extensions were some words related to those cases where one date might affect another. And I think they alluded to the fact that a date that on a scheduling order or a motion deadline that leaves a June date that comes before, let's say, a date that got extended by the 49-day deadline, that their intention is not to have those overlap, but to have them affect each other. It doesn't bring a whole lot of extra clarity for me, but I did want to note that one of the things that you should do is, if you do have like a scheduling order, or and it's alluded to in this order too, if you have a scheduling order you're dealing with where you have back-to-back dates, whether it's through the law court or through the superior court, district court, is come to an agreement with opposing counsel. Try to file a scheduling order that the court can approve so that it clarifies all the dates that you want to be held to going forward. And we're kind of coming to that time now where we can do that as opposing counsel or as a team, because we are only 10 days away from June 1st. And so we know that when June 1st comes around, there will be no more 49-day extensions. So we should work together on trying to define what our scheduling order will be. Any other thoughts on that, Jonathan? I can see.
Yeah, Thad, I think part of the problem is that the confusion that still exists is that the original order extending deadlines by 49 days has language that says that any dates that were established after March 17th, I think it was, would be extended by 49 days. But then in the order that kind of lifted that, it says that any dates that occur after June 1st stay the same. And so there's some conflict between the first one that says if it was established. So if a June 1st date was established under the first order, you would say, okay, that's extended by 49 days. But under the new order, it's not clear that that is, because that occurs on June 1st. And the new order says if a date occurs on or after June 1st, it stays the same. So I think that's where some confusion continues to exist.
Right. And for instance, I have a scheduling order from the law court that has my filing due on June 2nd. And the order, of course, came out in May and had a date established even in May too in that same order. So, you know, I'm going to be going to clarify with opposing counsel what that's going to be. So it's Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Got it.
all of the attorneys I've talked to about this seem to be taking that approach, is that they're going to talk to opposing counsel. I do plan on sending another comment to the COVID comment line concerning that continued confusion.
And I appreciate you copying us too, Jonathan. Thank you.
Okay.
So we do, if there's no other, I don't see any chats coming up on that either. So if there's no other thoughts on our PMO SJC2 issued last night, then I'd like to introduce our special guest for today, District Attorney Slattery. I see that she is on screen. I can see her from the chin up. She's going to talk to us about, so I can see more chin now. That's great. She is going to talk to us about what's happened there in her district and what she's doing for planning coming out of the lockdown at the court system. And DA Slattery, if you could join us, we'd be interested in your thoughts.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. My Zoom skills have improved during all of this, but I'm still not very good, and I've been likened to Kilroy sometimes, so I apologize for if you can't see me. I actually just got off a Zoom meeting with the county talking about their opening up efforts, which will start next week. They've platooned their employees out a week at a time, and everybody's coming back into the building next week, and the protocols that are going into place there. Yeah, I've been in the DA's office for over 30 years, and to shut down for a snow day was always cataclysmic. I recovering from this now 2-month period is going to take a lot of effort. What we did immediately was we went to 5 days a week of processing in custody complaints, and we're still doing that, so that when somebody is brought to the jail, they're allowed to they're held in intake until they go to the court the next day for their bail hearings. And this has facilitated a lot safer atmosphere in the jail. And we've also been able to process people very quickly. Hearings are being held in Springville and in Biddeford and in Alfred. So we're in session 5 days a week. I'm not sure everybody realizes that. Nothing is in person though. We went remote immediately. The attorneys were able to work remotely because of our case management software. And again, the county had platooned people in and out. So we've had a very skeleton crew in the York County Courthouse and in the satellite offices in Biddeford, York, and Springville. We immediately saw a decrease in the number of people being arrested that needed to be processed in custody. And I have also run some numbers and seen that we've had fewer people summoned during this time period as well. That being said, the numbers are creeping back up as business gets back to normal and people are interacting even more. There's been a lot of talk about the increase in domestic violence arrests, and I can't say that there has been an increase in domestic violence arrests because I haven't done a year-to-year comparison. But I can tell you that our lists are densely packed, our in custody lists are densely packed with domestic violence charges. And those are the cases that are most likely, that and drug cases, they're most likely to result in an arrest anyways. This has presented to us a constant logistical problem. It's been just trying to solve one problem, literally, how do I file something? Not being able to go to the clerk's office, not wanting to go to the clerk's office. You may be aware that they relaxed some of their electronic filing rules. So we have been able to, for the in custody matters only, been able to file some things electronically with the clerk. And it's been, I can highly commend the York County clerks. They've been wonderful to work with and adapted as necessary. And kind of everybody did decide at the beginning, we're all in this together. In terms of opening up the court, as you know, they had a stakeholders meeting this morning. They're moving very slowly, appropriately. I mean, anybody that's been involved in the criminal side in at least Southern Maine it's all been bring large numbers of people into the courthouse that wait around the courthouse for a long time and interact for better or for worse. And we simply can't do that anymore. So the court is moving very slowly. I've learned that they're not planning on doing much differently in June. We are processing some felony cases that are not in custody, but doing that just by video conference. We have a huge challenge in York County with our facilities. Everybody in my office is only 6 feet apart. You can't add anybody to it and do any business with interaction with the public. So we're trying to come up with a solution where we actually have a negotiating room or negotiate remotely with defense counsel. We've had to create a place for victims to be that is separate, so that if someone does come to court, that they're kept safe. So there's just an awful lot of logistical problems. We did focus on the jail cases for the first 6 to 8 weeks, trying to decrease the jail population. That was done through us reaching out to defense counsel and motions to amend bail. And we actually resolved a lot of cases, and the jail population is significantly decreased. We want to maintain public access to all these proceedings, but want to do so safely. And I don't think anybody has the magic plan to make that happen. We have heard particularly hard stories from victims recently whose lives are on hold because the court cases are on hold. Someone said the person who's accused of assaulting me received the stimulus check. I didn't get any of it. It went into our joint account, and I didn't get any of it. So there's a lot of problems for victims being created by this, and we're working constantly to try and solve them. I don't know if I've covered everything that anybody has questions about, or.
Well, I have just a couple questions, and maybe there are some others that might come. You mentioned that the county commissioners are going to reopen essentially county buildings. And how did you say that was going to be done? And when would, like, everyone, if there is a plan, be expected to be in place at their desk working in the county building?
On Tuesday, all county employees will be present in the building. I don't know about public access. There's still a limitation on public gatherings, but all county employees will be returning physically to the office on Tuesday, as opposed to half have been out for a week and platooning people in and out.
Okay. And do you have any information on the new county courthouse that's being built in Biddeford?
I believe they go before the planning board tonight for final approval. They haven't broken ground or anything, so I expect it will get approval tonight, and maybe something will change at that construction site if it wants to be a construction site. Got
it. Okay. And as far as like your position on, I guess, bail for those individuals that are affected, these are defendants, and as opposed to victims, the defendants that are being affected on extending essentially their trial. As you said, on the victim side, they're not able to get closure because trials may be extended. But have you been taking any specific position on bail, or come up with a process by which a reduction in the cash component of bail is more acceptable to envision a longer period of time before someone can actually have their trial?
I think we've actually been very proactive in that area. A lot of cases we tried to work out. Basically, let's resolve the case right now. I would say most of the people that are still in custody in York County, they've been talked about several times, and they're people that are perceived by the district attorney and the courts to pose a public safety risk. We did come up with a process for people being held on probation violations. Those are most likely to be held without bail. An in-house arrest process was created. And we really engaged in some really deep and meaningful discussions with defense counsel to either come to a bail agreement that ensures public safety, or a case resolution that would have everybody move on. The way the courts were operating in the beginning was that we could only bring plea agreements to them that resulted in a time served resolution. And that was relaxed over time so that we were allowed to come to plea agreements that maybe allowed for a longer sentence than they'd already served, but also moved them along in the process so they're not sitting there waiting for trial.
Well, thank you very much, DA Slattery. Are there, let's see, is there anything else? There are no questions that are coming up right now. We're going to continue with our presentation. You're welcome to stay on. We only have 2 minutes left. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So on the business side, Angela, what do we have?
Again, reminder that Monday is Memorial Day, so I hope everybody has a nice long weekend planned and enjoys the weather, and we will not be holding Bar Talk. And then don't forget, we've got Justin Andrus from the Board of Overseers tomorrow.
And I think he's going to address some of the essential trends that they might be seeing too at the Board of Overseers. And on the personal side, for me at least, I've got a client that's dying in a nursing home, and had an interesting conversation with palliative care doc and some of the staff, and they have COVID-19 that's there. They're dealing with that, as well as the staff having it, and also trying to deliver hospice to patients that they have. And it really hit home for me that I know that it's been talked about in the news too, not only by the CDC briefings, but also in the national news from time to time about hospice care. And I'm doing a shout out to them today. With that, any alibis? Okay, so tomorrow we've got the Board of Overseers, and then we start up again on Tuesday next week. Great, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathy. We appreciate you being here.